Today we're making gluten-free and sugar-free chocolate donuts. I love them because they're so easy to make, the mess in the kitchen is minimal, and yes, we're going to bake them instead of frying them. Hello friend, and welcome to my cooking show. My name is Rosana Bracho and I share recipes that are super easy and super healthy. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, then what are you waiting for? This recipe, I've done it several times in the past and I love it because it is super easy. All we're gonna need is a bowl for mixing, a donut baking pan, which I'll make sure to put a link in the description. And normally I would use my KitchenAid mixer, but I'm not in the mood to clean it after. So we're just gonna use a whisk. Now let's begin with the dry ingredients. 1 cup of almond flour, a 1/3 cup of tapioca flour, 1/2 cup cocoa powder, 2/3 of a cup of your preferred sweetener, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. And for the wet ingredients, a 1/2 cup of your preferred milk, a 1/4 cup of coconut oil, 2 eggs, 2 ripe bananas, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. So we're going to start out with the bananas. This is as ripe as I could get them for this video. Peel both bananas, place them in the bowl, and mash them very well with a fork. We don't want any chunks of banana in our batter. And now we're just gonna add all of the wet ingredients. I'm using oat milk, but you can sure use almond milk or just any milk that you have. The coconut oil, if you're using that compact one, you can also melt it and put it in the recipe. If you do that, you want to make sure that your milk and your eggs are at room temperature. A teaspoon of vanilla extract, and 2 eggs. And now we're just gonna mix this very well. Mix until all the wet ingredients are combined, and then we're going to add all of the dry ingredients to this mix. Perfect, so let's start adding the flours. Almond flour, tapioca flour. This is one thing that you may not have in your pantry. I suggest you get this for this recipe because this is what's gonna make our donuts more fluffy. If you don't have it, it's not a deal breaker. Stick with either almond flour or really try to get this one because, like I'm telling you, it is just gonna make our recipe more fluffy. The cocoa powder. This time I'm using like a dark cocoa powder. It is a Dutch press one. I've never used this one. I normally use a regular one and the donuts are great. So stay till the end of the video so you can see me try these donuts and I'll tell you if it's gonna be better with this cocoa powder or just the regular cocoa powder. For the sweetener, I'm using Truvia, but you can use your preferred sweetener, use coconut sugar, you can use brown sugar, the salt, and the baking soda, sorry. And again, just mix. Do I already regret not mixing this with a KitchenAid or an electric mixer? Yes. Is this gonna ruin a recipe? No, it's gonna be just fine. So our donut batter is ready. Now we're just gonna spray our baking pan with some, I'm gonna use some spray olive oil. And a little bit will be enough. And I'm just gonna be using a spoon to spoon the batter into the pan. I still have mixed for maybe 6 more donuts or 4 more donuts. I'm just gonna put this in the oven and then I'll bake another round. And now let's take our pan to the oven. Make sure it is preheated at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Then set a timer for 10 minutes. After the time has passed, make sure to check if the donuts are ready by inserting a stick in one of the donuts and making sure that it comes out dry. If it is still wet, bake your donuts for 2 to 3 more minutes. I'm gonna wait for this to cool down before I remove them from the pan, and then I'm gonna bake that other round that we had to leave for later. So I went ahead and I baked the remainder of the batter, and I got 7 extra donuts. So it is safe to say that
if I hadn't overdone the batter for some of them, like you can see this one is clearly way bigger than the other ones. If I hadn't had like 2 teaspoons of the batter when it was raw, and I hadn't ate 1 donut before getting to this shot,
it is safe to say that we would have at least 18 donuts. For this recipe, I recommend that you guys use the regular cocoa powder just because the Dutch press is very strong. Like the chocolate flavor is gonna be very strong, and that's something I never thought I would say because I love chocolate. But use the one that you have at home. So if it's a regular one, better, okay? And now a topping that I love adding to these donuts is peanut butter, and as usual I recommend that you get one that the only ingredient is peanuts, because we don't need any more added oil or sugar in there. And just enjoy.
So why am I wearing sunglasses? Why am I holding a green spatula in my hand? I don't know.
Just go with the flow, pretend like it's a normal thing, and just let's move on to the recipe, okay?